Good evening, I'm Roger Peterson. We may soon see students going back into George Brown College. No official date yet, but it looks like the province is going to get involved in the 5-week-old teacher strike at the colleges here in the province of Ontario. Now, they are trying to table legislation, the Liberals are, but it's being held up by the NDP.
Ms. Albanese seeking unanimous consent to adjourn the current debate and revert to introduction of bills. Agree? Agree? I hear... Okay, I heard a no.
An at times raucous debate as the Liberals try to introduce and pass back-to-work legislation to end the 5-week-old strike by 12,000 college faculty. It needed unanimous approval by all three parties. The NDP, though, says no.
We have never supported back-to-work legislation, as you well know, and it's a position that we have to take. It's something that we've always been sort of true to.
New Democrat House Leader Gilles Bisson says there was no need to come to this point, and he points the finger at the Premier.
5 weeks she had to be able to find a negotiated settlement. 5 weeks they could have done something to bring these parties to the table and to find a solution, and instead they just let this thing drag on.
We wanted to give them one last chance to actually see if they could resolve and get a bargain solution. Failing that, move to voluntary binding arbitration.
The Premier wasn't commenting today, but Deputy Premier Deb Matthews says it is disappointing that the NDP is stalling the legislation, going so far as to say it is putting the school year at risk.
The semester still is salvageable now. If the NDP has its way, we will see students losing their semester, and that is a disastrous outcome.
We want the children back in the classrooms, the youth back in the classrooms. Shame on the NDP for holding it up.
As for the Conservatives, they say they will support the legislation, which will be put before MPPs tomorrow and likely be debated through the weekend. But like the NDP, they blame the Liberals for this mess.
Obviously, it's not the first step that should be taken. It's we think Premier Wynne should have done a lot more to bring both sides around the negotiating table, to talk with both sides to make sure that they were willing to come to a resolution.
The decision to legislate the teachers back to work came after they overwhelmingly rejected an offer they were forced to vote on. Full-time staffing levels and academic freedom have been the major issues in this one. Tonight, the union held a news conference, and boy, did they sound off.
Folks, I've been doing this for a long, long time, and I've seen some very stubborn people stubbornly hang on to untenable positions, and the Employer Council is exactly what they did today.
Union President Smokey Thomas says they have made concessions, but the College Employer Council isn't budging and was simply running out the clock today during negotiations. Now, the council maybe not feeling that good about the union either. It's not commenting on camera, but it did release a statement in which it slams OPSEU for today, asking for a $5,000 return-to-work bonus for their members. Quote, OPSEU actions at the table moved us further away from a settlement. Today's bargaining should have been focused on getting students back to class, but OPSEU chose the path of signing bonuses for faculty and a dismissal of arbitration, end quote. Thomas says once all of this is over, he feels the province needs to take a long, hard look at the CEC.
That the Employer Council should be dismantled, and I truly believe it should be. It's a 50-year-old management structure that's been broken for 49 of those 50 years, and they've proved today that they are just out of touch with society.
Now, it is expected that debate over this legislation will likely go through the weekend, not being approved possibly before Monday, and it may take a couple of days for the teachers to get ready to get back to class. Now, as for individual colleges, it will be up to them when they feel they are ready to open their doors to students again.